Kingston. You know, with the Jolly Green Giant? Remember?
I remember. He wasn't too jolly until after the incident.
Improv, to me, is a performance art that is spontaneous. It thrives from audience suggestions, and sometimes it's funny, but sometimes it's serious.
Improv is, I want to say immediately more fun than scripted theater.
Improv is theater that is based around the idea of instant gratification.
Improv is 99% failure, and that's the hilarity.
Improv is theater sports. It gets people on stage, actors on stage, and we get suggestions from audience members and then perform short scenes off the top of our head.
When you perform improv, you feel more of an ownership. You're not just like reading somebody else's, like, ooh, this is a really good story that someone wrote a while ago, and I'm going to tell it because they wrote it really well. But when you do a really good improv scene, you know that you did that came from you.
Sorry about that.
What's great about it is even though the stories aren't sometimes as good as written stories, it's a lot of fun for the audience. The audience gives you a lot of leeway because they know you're making it up on the spot.
Without the audience, it isn't improv. It's just a couple of people dicking around. So the audience is the key ingredient that makes the improv cake delicious.
I like cake.
We always ask them for suggestions, like wacky objects, weird characteristics, or exotic locales, and we just go from there.
And the audience feels like they're a part of it, but not like stand-up where they feel threatened.
The audience is our blood, and we vampire the audience for energy.
Well, I feel that my morals are shifting, 'cause last time I was in Walmart, I was caught shoplifting. I ran down an aisle and I did a little dance, 'cause I didn't think that they'd see the sweater that I thought I got.
The Improv Show is a collective of great improvisational minds from around Kingston, coming together under one roof to give hilarity to the masses.
I'm an art history major at Queen's University.
I was in a beer commercial, a scientist studying artificial intelligence and cognitive science at Queen's University.
I do the ladies.
Masters of Education student at Queen's University. I'm also the regional director for the Canadian Improv Games Kingston Regionals.
I follow improv around Kingston, mostly.
I'm a correctional guard at Millhaven.
And I'm taking mathematics and engineering at Queen's.
I bake cookies.
I think the Improv Show is great because I like being on a team. I like the team community aspect of it. And since I'm no good at sports, this is a very good alternative for me.
No! We can't live this life!
It's talking!
Rise up, plush toys! Zombie plush toys? Rise against this false idol! No!
Take me home!
No, take me home!
Take me home!
The Improv Show is a collective of improvisers who strive to do improv that is slightly different from what you'd normally see necessarily on television. We often use the example of "we are not whose line." We've gone through several phases. We used to be very artistic, and now we're sort of more of in a high entertainment mode.
Oh my god, you've broken this thing! It's leaking gas everywhere! Oh, is that helpful? I'm tipsy!
Oh no, this is a disaster! This is going to cost me so much money!
Oh great, now she's passed out. This is the worst part of the job.
Or the best part of the job!
Was born 11 years ago, I told myself that I would no longer be ticklish because the last thing I wanted was a 4-year-old knowing my weakness.
My special trick is playing the xylophone with my tongue.
I might have a fascination with dark holes.
Because I can touch my ear, like all the way around my head like this, and stretch my arm. My arms are really flexible. My arms are really flexible, but like my legs aren't. I can't even touch my toes without bending my knees. So I'm like flexible in like certain places, but not others.